Hey everybody, I'm sorry. I know it's been like a really long time since I've sat down and properly given you guys an update on how things are going in my life, and a lot of that has to do with just how fast this summer has been. It has been filled with some of the biggest ups and some of the worst downs. So it's just been a lot of summer. And I even had made a video with the intention of posting it, I think, a week or so ago, and it just so immediately became outdated and I was busy, and it became outdated so quickly that I didn't even post it. So this one I tend to video and then post as soon as possible so that won't happen. But I think things have quieted down for now. So I think the last time I talked to you guys and let you know what I was doing, I was trying a new therapy and I was trying a new medication. So starting from there, the medication, had some painful side effects at first because I seem to just be one of those people that are going to have horrible, unheard of side effects from every medication I try. But fortunately for me, even though the medication specifically says do not take painkillers with it, I asked the doctor if it would be okay for me to do that because I'm like, I have to do something or I can't continue taking this medication. And she said with my level of health that there probably wouldn't be any issues. There's a slight bleeding risk or whatever, and she's like, but for your health and age, I just really don't see that being a problem, especially if you need it, go ahead and take it. So I took pain medications, and with my physical doctor, I asked to go to a chiropractor because the pain was so severe that I couldn't even turn my head for a while. That's how painful it was. But that did go away with time, so I had to just tough my way through that. And the therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, was really great. I would say more than anything, it was a class. It was a class that taught me about the nature of anxiety and some skills for coping with anxiety. And so I can see why people have such success with it over the long term. Because you're learning something. It's not that you're just going in there for talk therapy and so you're fine while you're venting to somebody. This was like a whole new animal, and I really appreciated it, though I am a bit more of a cerebral person. So, but still, there is so much stuff about anxiety, and especially as I'm going around talking to people about some of the stuff I learned, I realized that there's a lot of people who have some complete miscommunications about or misunderstandings about anxiety. And I think that we can thank Hollywood for a lot of that, and just our human tendency to create urban legends, just so quickly. We try to explain stuff and we're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, and we just take someone's word for it. So I've met quite a few people who genuinely believe that anxiety and panic attacks can lead to heart attacks. And it's exactly that kind of line of thinking that can make anxiety unbearable, because if you're not only dealing with the panic attack, but also genuinely feel like it can hurt and kill you, then the panic attack is going to become that much worse. So it was that kind of thing. I'm not at the end of the trail, but I feel like I am. I don't want to walk through there. Anyway, so that was, I guess you could call that a lot of ups and downs just in itself. Then I had been applying for disability again, and that had a lot to do with the fact that I lost my job back in October for health problems. But what it turned out to be symptoms from a very extreme anxiety disorder. Guess which one? PTSD, the anxiety disorder that I've had literally this whole time. It responds to stress, and it gets worse when I do things like try to get a consistent job. But I mean, at the same time, earlier this year, I was just absolutely certain that, I was dying of a brain tumor. That's how bad these symptoms were. I've been to the emergency room a couple times, genuinely thinking I was having a heart attack. That's how bad these symptoms have been. So, well, I'm glad that it did turn out to be anxiety, but at the same time, I'm like, the government's been giving me 70% disability, while at the same time, I can't work. And that's not fair. If someone can't work, they're supposed to get 100%. That's why there's something called unemployability. So what I did was, I decided to go in again and try to get my disability raised. And they did raise it. It ended up going from 70% to 80%. And that's nothing. It wasn't nothing. It was like a couple extra $100 a month. But if you were to compare that to what I'm supposed to get at 100% disability, it was falling short by $1,500. So that's a lot of money each month that I could be using to be a lot less stressed about my financial situation. After all, as mentioned before, I can't work. So it's not like I can just go somewhere and earn that kind of money. I've already tried. So I got, in my opinion, I got denied disability, even though technically they raised it by like a little bit. So this time I'm like, okay, the only option left for me, because I tried applying for both to increase fibromyalgia and PTSD already, was to go in and apply for unemployability. Ironically, as I didn't know all the ins and outs of how to get 100%, probably why I've gone so long without being able to do it, it just so happened that me losing my job for, reasons, and going to the doctor, me currently going to cognitive behavioral therapy, me currently on a couple medications for my health conditions, it made my case look a lot better than I realized, which is really sad because technically my case hadn't changed at all, but paperwork-wise, it looked a lot better. So this last time I went in, they went ahead and increased my disability for PTSD without the unemployability. Like, I was there because of unemployability, but then they decided, actually, you're getting 100% disabled for PTSD, so we don't even need to approve you for unemployability. I mean, that only took 7 years of me going there, and back again and trying to figure out how to prove to them that I am 100% disabled. But it turned out that just going over and over and over again seemed to kind of do the trick. Anyway, I'm already 8 minutes in and I haven't even gotten started on like the real thick of things. So at the beginning of this summer, sorry, I can hear a helicopter and I kind of feel like I need to find it. There it is. Yeah, it's a Chinook. Sorry, I don't know why I just absolutely had to do that. I know I can hear it, but I have to actually put my eyes on it. Okay. Earlier this summer, my grandma was taken to the hospital for general weakness, and she came back with the diagnosis of lung cancer, and she was given a couple months to live. Now, keeping in mind that my grandma was doing her own dishes and cooking for herself just a few months ago, I can't stress how quickly and how big of a surprise this was for all of us. And so it's been really hard to watch her fade away. And she passed away last week, which is also one of the major reasons why I didn't post that video I mentioned earlier, because I was talking about how my grandma was about to pass away, and then I went to stay by her bedside, and I stayed there practically without leaving her for like 3 or 4 days. Like, everything just stopped and went on hold as we were waiting for my grandma to pass away. And so I don't know how many of you have had to experience hospice for, you know, someone that you love. And in many ways, I mean, she was 90 years old. She lived a full life. She was ready to go. She's a Christian. She feels like she knows where she's going. Before she became unconscious, she was talking about seeing angels and seeing Grandpa again, and just some really beautiful stuff. So at the same time with it being like really hard, and still is, it was also a very beautiful thing. So while all that's going on, everything in my house was breaking. And in a way, when I saw just literally everything in my house breaking, my computer, which I need to do art for my church and have been like every single week, started to break. My sound system, a light switch in my house, just my air conditioner, I think broke like twice this summer. And I'm like, you know, there's so much bad happening. There has to be something good that's about to happen. And in a way, I think me finally getting approved for 100% disability was that wonderful thing. But at the same time, when my grandma passed away, you know, and I felt like I was, like, life wasn't real, and it was a dream, and I felt stuck in the mud, would be the best way to describe it. Like, just not just in mud, but stuff full of mud. And my sister had to plan a glow party for the Sunday school for our church. And you know what? I just, like, it gave me hope and realizing that there's a future, that, you know, life doesn't stop just because bad things happen. You know, I was just that stuck in, you know, on the bad, that I couldn't even see that there was a future anymore. And me thinking about volunteering at the church helped pull me out of that. So we've been, you know, planning this glow party, and I've been having a lot of fun doing it. And not only that, like, I got inspired to help repair some of the murals around my church, because they have these beautiful murals, but over time they have gotten hit and beaten up, and, like, there's kids everywhere, so you can imagine how that happened. And it's just been doing that for several years, just getting worse and worse. And so they were thinking about destroying the murals and just having a straight paint. And I'm like, you know, I'm an artist. I'm not incompetent when it comes to paints. I feel like I can repair these murals. And I did repair a huge chunk of it. And the maintenance team at the church was like, you know what, we might not have to paint over these after all, after they saw the work that I did. So that felt really good. So anyway, I think I've made my point. That is a lot of ups and a lot of downs this summer. Sorry for the long video, but I think you guys are up to date on what's been going on with me this summer. So let me know if there are any videos that you guys are really hoping I'll do. In the meantime, I'll just keep doing videos that I feel like, or I can. So in the meantime, just be blessed. All right, bye.